Thankfully, we're done with the epistle, so you don't gotta hear me say epistle and all those other annoying things. I've had to watch I watched a couple of my old videos, and I admit it was kind of annoying. I shouldn't have did the epistle thing. That was kind of annoying. But I don't feel like redoing all of those, and the fact that you guys will be annoyed, besides the ones really watching them anyway. So, hey. But anyways, here we are. Atheist Sunday School. Women of the Bible. Eve, the mother of mankind. Lesson 1. Introduction. For the next several weeks, we'll be teaching and learning about some women of the Bible. It is certainly fitting and appropriate that we should teach about Eve, who was the first woman. No evidence for that. Of course, she wasn't the first woman. We know that. Let us begin by reading a story of her creation and recounting the events of her life. Teach the pupils the fact about Eve. For example, she was the wife of Adam, the mother of Cain and Abel, etc. 1. The word Eve means living. This is the most appropriate title when we consider that she was the mother of all who had lived on the earth. 2. She was created because of Adam's need. Genesis 2:18. Notice the words, it is not good that man should be alone. Adam was alone in the Garden of Eden. Well, I'm alone here, and you don't see anybody sending me a wife. Can't imagine anyone wanting to be with me. He was sadly in need of a helpmeet. He longed for the communion and fellowship of a kindred soul. He longed for someone with whom to share the wants and joys of his life, and one who could be bone of his bone and flesh of his flesh. Thomas Campbell, the poet, puts it this way: the world was sad, the garden was a wild, and man, the hermit, sighed till woman smiled. Man alone is incomplete. The purpose of the creation of woman was for man. Though a woman is a mother, her basic and primary job is being a wife. A woman is a housekeeper, yet her basic joy is to supplement man. Man had a need. Woman was to fill it. Now, as you can tell, and I agree, that is a very barbaric, primitive attitude to have about women. They're help. Now, help. If you say a woman is to help, I agree. It's like we help them, they should help us. Housework, be a housewife, housekeeper. Why can't you help your wife clean the house? She works, you work. I mean, if one spouse works, then obviously the other spouse is going to be, in my opinion, is responsible for cleaning the house, cooking the food, and washing the dishes, and washing the clothes. It's just only fair. I'm not saying which spouse. I would love it if I could find a sugar mama, and she worked, and she made a lot of money, and I'd be the house husband. That would be perfect. I'd even take care of the kids if any come along. But it's kind of barbaric and primitive to think that women are there to serve men. They're not here to serve men. And we're not here to serve them. They don't need to protect us, and we don't need to protect them either. They don't need our protection. 3. Notice how she was made from, well, this is misspelled, so it says FOM, but F-O-M, but from Adam's rib. Genesis 2:21-22. God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and from his side God took material to be used in the formation of the new being. Someone has said she was not taken from his head as if she were to be superior, nor from his feet to be despised and trampled upon by him, but from his side to be equal with him, from under his arm to be protected by him, and from near his heart to be loved by him. Too bad they didn't seem to agree with this all those times in the Old Testament or the New Testament in that Bible. 4, you would notice there was one man for one woman and one woman for one man. This is still God's plan. Divorce was never in the plan of God. When people become entangled because of mistakes, God permits divorce, but God is not pleased with divorce. There is one woman that God has for each man. Every man should seek that woman and find her. There is one man that God has for each woman. Every woman should be satisfied to marry only the one that God has given her. I agree divorce is not good. I personally believe that people should go for counseling before they get married, and they should make sure they are absolutely certain they want to spend the rest of their lives with each other. And you talk about finances and a lot of other things, how you view children, all this stuff. Obviously, I agree with that, but I don't believe one gender should be serving the other. 5. Eve no doubt was the complete woman in all her beauty. Bear in mind how much more beautiful nature must have been before the fall and before sin. Think how beautiful a godly woman is today, and imagine how beautiful Eve must have been before sin ever came into the world. I'm sure when they say beautiful, I don't think they mean outward beauty, because I haven't seen any difference between looks when it comes to theists and atheists, or unsaved and saved. I haven't seen any difference. And I'm not saying one is superior to the other. Not saying that. And the same with inside beauty, personality. I haven't seen much Jensen's personality either. 6. She was the way to man. Genesis 3, 1 through 7. Satan perhaps thought he could never come nearer reaching Eve than Adam. Consequently, he brought his temptation to her. She in turn brought the temptation and the sin to Adam. Every woman should realize that she, in a real sense, is Satan's way to her husband. Many a man has been less than his best because his wife was not what she ought to be. And you do get that in a lot of marriages. One spouse, I'm not going to say women or men, one spouse will bring down the other. You do get that. I agree you get that, but it's not always going to be the woman. Sometimes the man brings down his wife. I was once teaching at a predominantly black college, and we had this one student, African-American student, around 19 years old, got pregnant. Real smart, on her way to medical school. Would have gotten to medical school. I don't know if she ever did. I hope she did, for her sake. Very smart, very attractive. The guy obviously was a leech. You got leeches in this world, men and women. Many a man has done more than his potential because of his wife was the way she ought to be. And again, true. You can marry the proper spouse, male or female, who props you up. You're not sure of yourself, and he or she is right there beside you. And I say he or she because if you're, homosexual, obviously you're going to marry someone of your own sex. So I'm not going to put any gender on this, male or female. It doesn't matter. Your spouse can bring you down or bring you up. I myself am not gay, just so anyone knows. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Actually, who cares if someone's gay or straight? There's no way to discourage a man more effectively than through his wife. Every woman should realize the tremendous influence that she has upon her husband. Just as God has made man the leader of the two, he has made woman in the real sense to have more influence upon man than vice versa. Again, I don't agree with that. Man is the leader of the two. Man is the leader, and his wife is second. Not necessarily. If you marry a woman that's a lot smarter than you and knows a lot more about finances and stuff like that, then she's going to be the one that's going to lead. And if you look at a lot of households, a lot of people are dating or married, it seems like their wives are the ones in charge anyways. They can't do nothing without their wives' approval. This places added responsibility upon a woman to be what she ought to be. 7. A woman's weakness is her strength. God created Eve as a helpmeet for Adam, but as a helpmeet she also must lean upon him. Satan knew this and saw immediately that Adam was not to be seduced except through Eve. He recognized that she was amiable, gracious, loving, and kind. Because of this, she was an easier prey for him than was Adam. Hence, he knew that she was the most tempted of the two. Which makes this God's fault, though, if you think about it, because God being misogynistic and wanted women to be weaker than a man and wanted the man to be in charge. So this makes it God's fault. The whole fall and sin and all this. Think about it. If he had made woman completely equal to man, I'm just speaking biblically. I don't agree with none of it, a lot of this. It wouldn't have happened. Also, think about it this way, though. A lot of Christians will tell you there was no sin, none of that stuff before the fall, before Adam and Eve ate that fruit. And it doesn't say it was an apple, it just says fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. Okay. Obviously they didn't know good or evil. If they don't know good or evil, then how can they know by eating the fruit they were displeasing God? Yeah, God told them not to do something, but if they don't know right from wrong, how can eating the apple be wrong if they don't know? They don't know. God didn't give them the knowledge to know that, hey, if you don't obey me, that's wrong. They wouldn't understand that. The Apostle Paul says in 1 Timothy 2:14, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Clearly, in womanhood represents human grace at its peak. She is more susceptible than man because she is by nature more gracious and loving than man. This means that since woman is naturally more gracious and amiable, she must also realize that she is more tempted and must be careful. How many relationships have you known where the man is actually more amiable and gracious and kinder than the wife? Where the wife is a total nut job that you just want to avoid. Think about that. Yeah, there are many more it's like that with the husband. Yeah. Well, I don't know about many more. I won't say that. But 8, Eve led Adam into sin. Genesis 3, 6, 7. Many a man has done wrong in an effort to please his wife. A good husband wants to please his wife. Because of this, the wife should be very careful to make her desires and requests a good one. Yeah, like not buying heavy furniture that your husband has to call all of his male friends to help him move, and bust their shoulders and stuff like that, Many a husband has stolen, embezzled, etc. to provide for his wife's desires. Let every woman be careful lest she tempt her husband to do wrong and lead him into sin. 9. This sin led them to hide themselves from God. Genesis 3:8. Sin always keeps us from God's presence. Okay, before I finish this. Okay, if Eve is the weaker of the two and needed to lean on Adam, why didn't Adam always keep her company so she wouldn't be deceived? Just think about it. Why wouldn't Adam not always keep an eye on her? If she's supposed to be that childish and weak, that she would easily be fooled by this Satan character. The reason people do not come to church is that they do not want their sins revealed. The reason people do not read the Bible is because of sin. Do you not go to church because you're afraid your sins are going to be revealed? Is that the reason? There are a lot of atheists that go to church, you know that, right? Members of the atheist experience, they'll tell you that they sometimes get invited and they sometimes go. I've been to church as an atheist. It didn't affect me at all. The reason people do not pray is because of sin. Let us realize that it is sin that makes us want to avoid God. Also, the reason people don't want to read the Bible is because of sin. If I'm a horrible person, if I was a Hitler or a Mussolini or a Stalin, I would love to read the Bible because it would make me feel good. Because, hey, look at this. Moses and David and all these people, Joshua and all these other people are doing all these same things as I did. I feel good because it's in the Bible. And then Jesus, and then in Revelation, there's going to be more. 10. There are other passages that teach of the duties of womanhood. Good ones are Ephesians 5:22, Titus 2:1-5, etc. We must bear in mind, however, that regardless of how many duties we find that a woman should fulfill, or how many obligations she has, her first and foremost purpose is being a helpmeet to man. Man was lonely without her. I don't know, I feel pretty fine without a wife or a girlfriend or any of that. I'm too ugly and shy and way too weird to have somebody. Man was in need of help. Consequently, every woman should seek to find what her husband needs and fulfill those needs. Conclusion. Every woman should picture her husband in the Garden of Eden alone without her. What would he need? He would need what a woman is. Consequently, God made her for him. Each woman should examine her own husband's needs under such conditions. She should become what he needs in order to make him what God had in mind in the Garden of Eden. Well, I'd rather be what my wife needs. If I were to have a wife, I'd rather be what my wife needs, and I would hope that she would be what I need. I don't want to put myself above her or her above me. It just doesn't seem right. But anyways, remember Proverbs 31:10 and Proverbs 28-30. We can find a virtuous woman. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Except for when he cheats on her because he's a jackass. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. No, a woman that actually loves her husband that loves her wife, his wife, they should be praised. Oh, well, that's it. Bye-bye.